Take a guess at how much time people, not smart people like you, but people are wasting on email or texting, specifically conversational emailing. Guess. Okay, I'll tell you, but first, what do I mean by conversational email? So this is what I mean. So you're thinking, I really don't feel like talking to this person because, well, maybe you have to talk about something really technical and you want them to think you've thought of everything and you look really professional, like you have all the answers, like that. Or you have something more sensitive to talk about, like a complaint or something that may be very sensitive to your client, like if you've gone over budget on a job, or you might want to present your customer with a higher than expected tax bill. Okay, guess how much time? A 2018 survey by Adobe of over 1,000 office workers in the USA found they spent, on average, about 3.1 hours a day on work email. Now multiply that by a 5-day work week and you've lost 2 days, or 40% of your work week frigging around with email. So why? Well, first of all, it just kind of seems normal now. I mean, it's so integrated into our way of doing things, and in some cases, like the legal profession or even my profession, it's encouraged, like to keep a paper trail of everything so we can cover our butts later when the misunderstandings come to light. It's like writing emails is a perfectly acceptable use of productive time. Email allows us, at least in the short run, to avoid uncomfortable situations, even its very slight uncomfortableness. These are just a couple of reasons. I'm sure there's a million more psychological reasons. So why does email waste so much time? Again, there's likely a million reasons, but here's just two of the main reasons I think. First, when you're talking to someone and you're explaining something or you're expressing a point of view or whatever, think about the exchange that happens when you're having an actual conversation. Like, it's quick, it's raw. Now, at the conclusion of the conversation, you will likely come to some common ground or consensus or understanding of whatever you might have been trying to achieve by that conversation. And right there, the outcome, that is where you've struck gold, which is the outcome you were hoping to achieve. Now, that outcome can absolutely go into an email followed by a little note that says, "This is how I saw the outcome of our conversation. Let me know if I've missed anything or gotten anything wrong." Do you see the difference? Have the conversation first, followed by the email, is a super time-saving hack. And it just happens to be excellent client service, or if not a client, it's super professional. And like, no one is doing it anymore. So when you do it, you're gonna really stand out. I practice this with my clients and they love it. They feel like I'm really, really accessible, and that's super important to them and me, but let me tell you, there's more selfish reasons why I do this too, and it's because it saves me a crazy amount of time. If I can save a day or two out of my work week compared to my peers, I can either get more done than them, which makes me more of a rock star, or I have a more comfortable work life, and a cooler, calmer professional is a better professional. Second is this. Communication between two humans includes a giver and a receiver, and both parties ping-pong those roles back and forth. The giver is using body language, tonality, and the verbal words themselves to communicate thoughts. The receiver is watching body language, listening to tonality, and usually listening to the actual words. Now, would it surprise you to learn that in two separate reputable studies, it was determined that interpretation of a conversation is communicated 55% through body language, 38% through tonality of one's voice, and only 7% of the actual words they're saying. Did you hear me? 7% of the actual words. Let me show you an example. Oh yeah, this guy's a real winner. Okay? Or, oh yeah, like this guy is a real winner. Do you see the difference? Now, in both cases, I used the exact same words, but how did you interpret each? What were the things that made you interpret the exact same words completely differently? In fact, the polar opposite. It was my hand gestures and my tone. Okay, now when we use email exclusively, we're missing out on 93% of the most important part of communication. When we hop on the phone, now we're missing only 45%, which is better. And a Zoom call or a meeting drops us down to 0%, where we now have 100% of the components of communication working for us. And even then, things still can get interpreted wrong. So my point is, you're taking a serious risk that when you try to effectively communicate with email, that things will not get interpreted the intended way. It's not impossible, but you have to think of the time that it would take to really lay out the level of detail necessary to bridge the gap, like say a novelist level of prose. It's a terrible return on the value of your time. So the alternative, when someone asks you a question or complains or wants to open up a dialogue with you over email, pick up the phone, or the puff strategy, pick up the phone, or send them a Calendly link, which is another awesome software hack, by the way, that maybe I'll do in next week's video, or hop on a Zoom call. You can just about get 100% of the benefit of the 3 communication categories we just talked about. And then follow up with an email, the things that came out of the meeting. You don't have to spend a crap load of time finessing it because the notes will trigger their memories, and from that they will remember the tonality and or the body language, and there won't be that big lost in translation factor that happens with just doing email. You know, make it bullet point. Remember that video I did on Witty Parrot? The link is up there. This is a tool you can use to really speed up your communications as well. Follow-up emails that are a result of the outcomes from phone calls, meetings, or video calls are the things that will set you apart from your competition. They will think you're an elite, no-nonsense professional. I mean it. And they will tell 13.2 of their friends, and believe me, they won't do that over email. So you win. You save 2 days a week in time, and you end up with more clients. This easy hack is a game changer. Now listen, if this was helpful to you, let me know in the comments so I, A, know you're out there, and B, that I can help bring you this type of content repeatedly. And remember, I do this 1 to 2 times a week, so if you haven't subscribed and hit that notification bell, come join the party because we love small business. Take care. Mom, can you shut my door? She's not my mom, she's my wife. My mom's dead. God rest her soul.